Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is just a real quick informative video for anybody that wants to start a craft business next year. This is the XTOOL F1. It is a portable laser engraver. You can set it up at craft fairs. You can set it on a table at your house. It doesn't take up much space. And you can set up an Etsy store if you don't want to set up at craft fairs. Right now, they have it for a limited time, $800 off the original price. And I've given you the link in the description below for the one that I'm using. Right, Maxwell?
And here are some of the things that I made with mine.
Okay, I'm going to be engraving some tumblers today, and I'm just typing in my daughter's name. And I'm just using the text tool right there. You type it in, and then you can change the font to any font that you have on your computer. Now, I'm going to change mine over to one called Rum Raisin. It's a really cute little font, and I'm changing it here. Then I'm going to change it over to engrave so it engraves the entire word, not just the outline. Then I'm bringing in a little icon. We call her mouse, and so I'm just going to shrink this down to go right past her name. And you can bring any kind of SVG file in here. And I'm just going to kind of get them lined up together, and I'm going to turn them vertically because I want to run it down the front part of the mug. And I'm going to pull it till it's a little bit longer because I want it to be the full length of the front of the mug. And then I'm going to shrink the little icon to be the same height as her letters. And you're kind of limited on the space that you're using if you're not using a rotary tool. I'm not using the rotary tool on this. This is how I'm using it without the rotary tool. Okay, then I'm going to choose my materials. I'm going to go down to more XTOOL materials at the bottom, and then I'm going to choose Tumbler. And I'm just going to type it up in the top part there, Tumbler. It's going to give me two choices. One is a stainless steel tumbler that has nothing coated, no coating on it, and the second one is a black one. That's the one I'm choosing. And then I'm going to open it up in the XCS for the settings. Then make sure you hit engrave. And then I'm going to change my settings to 64 for the power. I'm going to change my speed to 400. I tested this on one mug, played with it for a while, and this is the best setting for the mugs that I'm using. So put that at 400, and then I'm going to come down here to pass. I'm going to leave it at 1, and my lines per centimeter, I'm going to bump them up to 300. And then I'm going to change this over to infrared instead of blue light. And then I'm going to click on the framing button so I can see exactly where it's going to engrave on my tumbler before I send it to be engraved. And then since I don't have the rotary attachment, I made this little jig with Jenga blocks and wood, and this is the tumbler that I'm going to be using. And I'm just going to place my little jig right up against the back. I'm going to lay my tumbler on it and line it up. Just kind of turn it on the jig until you get it lined up exactly where you want it. And I just want mine run right down the center. And then I'm going to line up my little alignment dots till they meet in the middle. And then this is when I'm framing it. You can kind of see exactly where it's going to go on here. So it kind of draws out where it's going to go for you to see. And then you can push the button to engrave. And then once I'm happy with where it framed, I'm just sending it to the X tool to engrave it. And then just hit start, and then you'll push the button on the side of the machine to actually start it. Okay, once you hit start, it took about 2 minutes and 36 seconds to engrave this onto this tumbler. Now, if you are doing craft fairs, tumblers are really hot right now, and people love to have their name engraved on them. So if you were to go ahead and bring in some tumblers, have some ready, you can pick some different colors if you want to. Neutrals are always safe if you're not sure what colors to get, but these are definitely a good seller at a craft fair. Okay, and then once your software says complete, you can go ahead and remove your tumbler. And then this is how pretty it engraved this. Look how detailed that is. Look at that little mouse, how cute that is. This is a great tool for monogramming. I'm just going to engrave on some knives that I bought, and I'm going to use the user-defined material on this because they didn't have a knife selected. I'm going to set my power at 65,
my speed at 300, and then my lines per centimeter at 300. And I'm using infrared on this. I'm just going to line this up underneath the dots, and you want to make sure that you line your dots up once you get this on here. Just turn that dial till the dots come together. And then I'm going to frame it first of all so I can see exactly where on my knife that it's going to engrave. Just kind of line it up there and look at it. Once you get it exactly where you want to, then you can go ahead and send it to process. Hit process and then start, and you're going to push the button on the side of your machine to start the engraving process. This is a great tool if you are setting up at craft fairs. You could engrave just about anything that anybody even just brings to your booth. And engraving goes really quick, and this is with the infrared. And I'm showing you real time so you can kind of see how long it does take just to engrave a knife. And that was pretty much, that was it. And then look how pretty this is. Look how detailed the engraving is on that. And then the software shows you when it's complete so that you can remove your product from the machine. The thing I do like about this machine is you can do multiple layers at one time. I'm bringing in some wood. I am going to cut out a shape. And then I'm also going to monogram it at the same time. I'm just going to put my dog's initials in it, set this layer right here for the bone to cut it. So this layer will cut it out. And then I'm going to bring in a text layer to put right in the center of it to engrave. So it can do it all in one shot. So you don't have to take it off, put it back on, and then do a second layer and put it back on. It'll do it all at the same time. And I'm just kind of picking a fun font. Rum Raisin is a really fun font. And I'm just going to line that up right on the bone just to make sure it's centered on there. And then I'm going to send it to the machine to cut it out and engrave it all at the same time. And then I am going to frame it so I can kind of see exactly where I need it to be. And then you can pull in all these settings yourself. Once you figure out exactly what piece of wood you're going to use, it automatically does the settings for you. And I do love the fact that it has the framing tool so you can get the most out of your wood that you're using. You can move things around, send it over to framing. It'll show you exactly what it's going to look like, and then you can do some adjustments so that you can save materials. And when you're cutting wood, you have to use the little tray with the little dividers on it, and you need to face those towards the vent, towards the back. And then put your piece down. Go ahead and get your dots lined up. You want to do this first. If you don't line up your dots, it's not going to do anything when you push go. So you need to line them up, make sure that they are centered on top of each other, and then you can cut your piece. And that's the framing. It'll show you exactly where it's going to be on your wood, and then you can adjust your wood or you can adjust your software. I just moved my wood around to fit on exactly where I want it to be, and it also does exact shape as well. And this really is a great tool if you're doing craft fairs because it doesn't take up much space, and most of the engraving that you probably would do wouldn't be any bigger than the things that I'm making today. And you can take it with you. People can bring things that they have from home. You can engrave it for them and then just charge them for the time. It doesn't take that much work to do it. It doesn't take that much time to set it up. And then once you send it over, it is going to cut and engrave both layers at the exact same time. Now, if you're setting up at a craft fair, you definitely want to get the filter because it does filter out the smoke, and you don't want that at your space. But this goes pretty quickly. It cuts out and engraves pretty fast. And look at the detail on that. Okay, and I wanted to share this with you real quick because they are having a sale right now. In the next 7 days, they are offering $800 off of this unit. So if you are thinking about starting a craft business, this is a great time to jump in and pick one of these up. Thank you so much for watching.
And if nobody's told you today, you're awesome.